Craft soft wearables in style with this Yarn Bee Bamboo-tiful yarn. This lightweight yarn offers a vibrant color on a 7-ply thread. Use it to weave accessories, blankets, and more with a professional finish. Does this yarn add up to its online description? Let's find out in this episode of the Stash Spotlight. Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the Stash Spotlight. I'm Nicole from Woven Tales Designs, and in this part of my channel I get to show you a little bit of what I have in my stash and why, but I don't just say, hey, here's a yarn haul. No, we talk about the details. We talk about, is this worth buying? So in today's episode we have the gorgeous yarn Bamboo-tiful. I keep wanting to say Bamboo-tiful, like Bamboo-tiful, you know, but it's not intended to be that, and I think that's why they put the hyphen after bamboo to connect it to tiful. So right off the bat, the online description, as you heard before, is extremely short. I hate when people use the words in style because that's a very, to me, a kitschy type of phrasing to describe a versatile yarn, which is what this yarn is. I actually bought this off the shelves straight based on squish factor, guys. After I did the squish test, this was a very nicely affordable yarn. This was very nicely fitting into my budget at $4.99 a skein, and I very much like that. For me, if it's over $6 a skein, I'm probably not going to buy it unless it's like a bigger skein so I get more out of it, or unless it's for a very specific project and I cannot find anything else like it and I absolutely need it. So in addition to it being a nice price, the yardage is actually great on this yarn itself. It's a lightweight yarn, it's category 3 weight yarn, so you're gonna get a little more yardage per skein with these types of yarns. That's about 257 yards per skein. It's awesome. I got a lot of use out of one skein, and it's at 113 grams, which is just over 100, which is awesome. I actually bought 2 colors, but I'm only using one for the project that you'll see in a little bit. I am designing a vest pattern. I love vests, and I love like dusters and things like that, whether it's spring, summer, fall, winter. I love layers. This was the yarn that I thought would work really well, especially because I predicted the draping would be really nice with the 50% viscose, which is what that other 50% that's not cotton is. It's 50% viscose from bamboo, and that to me was the perfect choice for my vest pattern. I chose white, as you can see. So now that we got the basics underway, you know the price, you know the yardage, you know the weight, and you know what colors I personally chose, and you know kind of like my general feel about this brand. Let's go over and figure out those details and figure out exactly what it is that makes this yarn Bamboo-tiful. So the color family that can be described for this yarn is just a bunch of nice standard colors with some trends mixed into it. The colors they have for Bamboo-tiful are basil, cerulean, cognac, iron, linen, mist, mustard, paprika, rose, sage, and sea green. All very solid colors and no striations and no speckling. So let's go ahead and look at the structure of the strand of yarn itself a little bit closer here. This is described as that 7-ply strand where it's 7 threads twisted together into one. And you can see at the end of this yarn that definitely splits really easily due to the drier nature of the cotton, 50% of the yarn. But I will say, even though it splits like that, it doesn't split as bad when you buy it with the color versions of the yarn versus this white version. The white definitely split more than the rose color yarn that I was talking about. And I also bought it in a sage color, and that was also not as bad with the splitting. As you see me tug and pull at it, there's not really any stretch to this yarn, but it does have a very strong structure, which I appreciate. And it's not super dry to the hands. It's very, very easy to kind of pull through my fingers. So when we go to look at the gauge swatch, they suggest that your gauge swatch should be 18 single crochet by 20 rows. I worked up, just so you can see how it is in longer stitches, extended double crochets as well as the single crochets. But the single crochets I did true to form. When I originally worked up this swatch, I was able to make gauge according to their recommendations, and I used the hook that they recommend, which is a 4mm hook. I love actually how the stretchiness increases once you work this up with real stitches. That's something I noticed right off the bat, which with other cotton-based yarns, you don't really get that. So that was a big bonus for me as a pattern designer. Also nice to know that with this yarn, I was still able to keep a pretty decent stitch definition, because typically for me, yarns that split naturally end up making my tension a little bit looser than normal. I do have a tight tension compared to other crocheters, but that's just, I've always been like that. Can't seem to shake it. And if you know, you know, right guys? And for all of my beginner crocheters out there, I do want to give you the reassurance that this yarn is pretty beginner friendly in my opinion, even though it splits a little easier than most. And we're going to show exactly how easily this yarn frogs to prove my point. Look at that. It just pulls so cleanly right from the get-go. You're not going to get any snagging. And I actually think, quote me if I'm wrong, it actually makes the yarn easier to work up the second time around if you have to frog a couple of rows. So work with it with that peace of mind, all my crocheters out there. This is a frog-friendly yarn, although I hope you won't have to frog too much. And now that we've covered what the basics of this yarn are according to the yarn label, I do want to show you what this looks like when it's worked up into a real-life project. This is the close-up of my vest pattern. This is the back panel. And you're going to see that as I'm lifting this up and kind of messing with it, it's just got this incredible natural drape. That is thanks to the bamboo version, or the bamboo portion of the yarn structure. And I can't tell you enough how it's just so nice to work with a yarn that you really don't need a lot of blocking with afterwards. And I'm sliding over just to show you the more holier part of this pattern. This is my lattice pattern that I have featured in the front panels of the vest. And the structure of the stitch definition is just immaculate. I know that's a really dramatic word to use, but it is really, really nice to know that a cotton-based yarn can give you that, but also have the soft look of almost of like a silk-based yarn, if I can be so bold. I tend to be pretty picky as far as yarns go because I want it all in one go. I want stitch definition, I want perfect color, and I also need the yarn to shape well as an added bonus. And you see that in the side of the front panel here. You see there's a little bit of shaping. It's not bulky. You're not going to get the bulkiness with this yarn because it's a lightweight yarn as well. Category 3s, in my opinion, are so underrated and so necessary when it comes to designing garments. Hope you enjoyed all of those details that I just threw at you. There's a lot to take in with this yarn. It is absolutely worth your time and your budget. So if you want to take the plunge, please let me know down in the comments below, because I'd love to know if you guys have tried this stuff after I've told you about it. They do have a great online ordering service. I've ordered online from Hobby Lobby many, many times, in addition to actually being in store, and their products I've never had an issue with, especially when it comes to yarn. So good luck with that if you decide to take the plunge. Let me know. And also, did this match the description for you? I don't know. I'm pretty easy to convince most of the time. I can smell a novelty trend-seeking yarn when I see it and hear of it. So this was not that for me. I thought that this was a very true to form type of yarn, and I think that this will be a good investment for a lot of different makers, and even for knitters. If I have any knitters watching and you try this yarn, please let us know how you felt about it. On that note, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Stash Spotlight. This has been an awesome time sitting down and talking yarn with you all. Please click the like button and subscribe. You know how it goes here on YouTube. You know the drill. And let me know how you liked this yarn. You guys have a magical day, adding magic to your stitches in your own way. And I will see you on the next episode of Stash Spotlight. I wish you guys could see my cat right now. He's doing that move where he has his leg up here and he's cleaning himself, you know, like this. And then I go to be like, what are you doing? He's like, mind your business. It's like everything sucks. All the talking points. I'm pregnant, I burp a lot. You get all the talking points. Do you want to talk with me? I haven't filmed anything in like forever. Okay, live a long time. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? It's in neutrals a lot lately. This lighting is like...